My name is Erkki Huhtamo. I'm a professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, departments of design, media arts, and film, television, digital media. I guess I'm mainly known as a pioneer of a field called media archeology. Media archeology tries to understand the contemporary mediatic condition by creating dialogues between the present and different moments in the past. So in a way, helping these technological situations to explain each other. And I do believe that this is important because the contemporary work in media and technology is often surrounded by myths rather than realities. And looking at these relationships between different moments and ideas about technology helps us in a way sort of like filter away some of those myths and understand what the media and its uses are really all about. So media archaeology sees culture as a multi-layered construct. So it happens on many levels simultaneously, and these very complex cultural processes obviously involve many kinds of cultural agents, and these could be business people, marketing people, scientists, artists, and also media users. And I think that we need to take everybody's sort of like take into account to really understand how the media culture functions as a sort of like a construct. And I think that very key roles in this process are played by scientists who develop the technology, develop ideas underlying technological applications, but also by artists who often come up with this wild imagination, imagining and pushing technologies further. Artists also take ideas from the past, and this is of interest for a media archaeology. So artists are in a way time travelers. They are combining different forms of technology from different moments in time. And I think that collaboration between scientists and artists is highly interesting because both bring different sorts of agendas into that ideas, different forms of expertise, different ways of understanding technology, its goals and also its problems. So in the contemporary world, which is struggling with very difficult problems, many of them of course related with technology, I think that this kind of a dialogue between the scientists and artists in a kind of a multidimensional space is absolutely of key importance. Useful fiction as a title is highly interesting. I guess that everybody sees it, interprets the title from a slightly different angle, and I think that this is perfectly fine because we are talking about the workshop situation. Workshop is about probing ideas, coming up with dialogues and trying to push them further into unknown directions. For me, useful fictions has maybe a certain little bit of an ironic stance as well, because we know that useful fictions are used these days in politics, in advertising and many other fields. So people are pushing these fictions and sometimes claiming that these are not really fictions, even though that's what they seem to be. And they are useful, but they are sometimes useful for very contradictory and problematic goals. So in that sense, a workshop titled Useful Fictions probably should probe also the kind of the underlying meanings and connotations of those words and ask what is useful and what is useful for what kind of purpose, you know. So we have to develop also kind of a critical meta-discourse, I think, on that kind of a concept. So obviously the idea about Anthropocene is today's one of the key words talked about in the current sort of like, so we say, mediatic and also sort of like in a sort of like a global condition. And it is definitely involved with the idea about all kinds of fictions. These fictions are the discourses that surround our efforts to make sense of those things and sometimes avoiding giving answers. So it is a politically and ideologically very problematic case. Fiction as a word, of course, in this context has a negative connotation. So we love reading great fictions by Victor Hugo and any other writer. But when the fiction becomes associated with processes that basically concern the continuity of life on this planet and all the contributing factors in that case, I think that we have to look at the word fiction with extra care. And I think that there is definitely a need for a kind of a deconstruction of that word. So it doesn't mean that we fully have to abandon that word, saying that fiction is something purely negative and even harmful. But we have to understand what are the connotations and meanings associated with that word. So in a way, take it apart and then see what remains and what those elements can contribute to actually finding solutions to these serious and complex problems we are facing. And I think that in that sense, like a workshop like this one, can certainly give a contribution. So by probing, bringing many different approaches, many different ideas and agendas together in a critical manner. So it is a beginning, hopefully, for something that is a continuing process, and it certainly has huge ramifications in the world in which we are living right at the moment.